Hello, Caitlin Louise Smith.
So nice getting to be here. Judy, it's so nice getting to talk with you. I've listened to your show for so long.
Aw, thanks. Yes, okay, first and foremost, Caitlin, you are a local girl from Melville. You went to Melville High School.
Yes, I did.
You're doing the Broadway thing.
I know. I
Wow.
It feels so full circle. To be coming back to the Fox and getting to perform is truly like a dream come true. I would go to the Fox as a little girl and like point at these performers being like, I'm gonna do that someday. And like not a lot of people can say they're doing their plan A. So I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, it's all about following your dreams. So, by the way, Caitlin is in Mean Girls, the musical, which I am so excited about. I think I've seen the film probably 25 times at least.
Same.
So, I'm now, which character do you play?
Yeah, so I play Sonia Aquino.
Okay.
She's a lesser known character. The amazing part about the musical is that Tina Fey was able to really elaborate on these characters that she wasn't really able to touch on in the movie, and give us all individual names, because really all of these characters she's created in Mean Girls, for both the movie and the musical, are people in her real life that she really has taken and put into this high school.
Mhm.
Probably people that she experienced in high school, I would imagine.
Mhm.
Um, and so very much like the movie, the musical, we have these little tidbits and these features, the ensemble of like how we feel about Regina George, how we feel about Katie. Um,
Right.
so you have that same like energy of hearing from the school itself.
You know, some of my favorite characters are my favorite lines. One of my favorite lines is from a very, she's not a well known character. She comes on maybe 5 times and she goes, I bought gaucho pants because, Katie wore gaucho pants. I love that line and I love that character.
Also,
So,
can we appreciate the gaucho pan? That is
please,
so 2004.
right? They're coming
Oh,
back. They're coming back.
are they? Okay, good
Yes.
to know. Because I definitely the style in the musical is a little bit more up to date. It is set in 2019, so as of right now, you're not going to see a gaucho pan.
Oh, but yeah, that was, I mean, a lesser known character. I mean, there's
Yeah,
so many things. And Tina Fey, oh my gosh, you haven't gotten to meet her, have you? Do you think you'll get to? Or
I have.
you
I
what?
have.
You
Yes,
have?
I have. Okay, so
Wow.
also one of the characters I get to play, I do have a pretty iconic moment. In the movie, there's a character that comes in the bathroom,
Hmm.
and Damien says, "Danny DeVito, I love your work." I, in
Yes.
fact, am the Danny DeVito girl in the
Wow.
musical. I have gotten many a compliment being like, "You don't look that much like Danny DeVito." And I'm like, "Interesting." I think that's a compliment, but also, but you know what? Danny DeVito is great. I mean, who can complain? He's an icon. So
You're gorgeous. You look nothing like him. So don't.
thank you, thank you. But yeah, so I actually, yes, she was actually very involved in the musical and our tour coming to light. Our tour is a totally different version of the show that was originally on Broadway,
Hmm.
and that is just because she comes from this background of, on SNL, she was constantly giving rewrites, constantly wanting to improve because she was finally able to hear how audience perceived her show. And
Hmm.
so even in previews, the Broadway show was constantly changing.
Hmm.
And, a year out after the Broadway show, she already knew, like 2 days after it opened and it was done, she was like, I want to make this change and this change. And she was able to realize that with the tour, which was so cool. Um,
Wow.
and what
And
else? I was going to
oh,
say,
how does she write? Like, so there, it's all original music, right?
yes. So the music is actually done by her husband.
I was going to ask about that. So talk about that a little bit.
So Jeff Richmond, he
Hmm.
is a lesser known but just as important role in what Tina has done. He has done music for 30 Rock. He's done music sort of behind the scenes, and you didn't even know it. And he is such a talented composer and musician. So it was sort of a passion project for the two of them,
Hmm.
because Tina Fey loves musical theater. that was the thing. This isn't something that she wanted to create because she's like, I want to make more money on Mean Girls the musical. She was like, I love musical theater and I want to create a musical of Mean Girls that's totally different from the movie, but also has respect in its own right.
Mhm.
And they really did succeed. It's such an amazing piece of musical theater that is hilarious and
Mhm.
has so much life that you wouldn't expect from something that was dated back in 2004. So
I can't believe it was 2004 that
I
that
know.
film came. Wow. It's almost been
It's
20 years. Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
it's almost been 20 years. I had
Wow.
that realization where I was like, wow. And I watched the original movie. So many people are like, were you a fan of the movie? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't
You
know.
were so little probably.
I was young, but I was also, my parents let me watch SNL growing up,
I
and
let my kids too. I mean,
I would
same.
see her play. So Tina Fey was, she was iconic to me. I grew up watching her, perform on SNL, and so getting to work with her, it was such a weird, like, sort of existential moment of like, I can't believe I'm here. The first time I met her, she was in line for the bathroom, and I was like stopping her from going to the bathroom because I was like, I'm a fan of your work, and she
Wow.
definitely was like, okay, so I'm gonna go to the bathroom now. Okay, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that's awesome. But she's
Yeah.
great. I hear she's really sweet in person.
She is, and she's a businesswoman. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not surprising, right?
Right.
She's super serious,
Mhm.
and
Driven.
yes, driven,
Mhm.
and she's constantly talking about how she was the woman in the room, in a male-centric field, and how she was wanting to open up, um,
Mm. Mhm.
that to not just a woman, but women, and
Mhm.
that was such a cool thing, getting to have her inspiration, because really it's from the top, it trickles down,
Absolutely. Mhm.
and having a female um, writer down
Producer.
to
Mhm.
a producer,
Mhm.
down to we have our stage manager. That's most of our stage managers for the show are females. Our company managers is female. Pretty much all of our behind the scenes, and obviously it's a very female heavy show on the stage as well, but most of our behind the scenes is actually led by female leaders, which is
Ah, I love that.
amazing. Yeah.
It's empowering, and that's what we need because we need to lift each other up, which
Yeah.
is the opposite of what Mean Girls is, but at first. But of
Yeah.
course, we all know that have seen the movie. That's the beautiful thing about that movie is
Mhm.
that they do lift each other up in the end. I mean, it's wonderful, and then the cycle starts over again.
And the
So
funny thing is that, it's about Mean Girls in high school, but
right,
somehow it still relates to me as a 20-something-year-old, because it that kind of mentality is something that is set in early, but
yeah.
can plague us, even throughout adulthood. So
I just read a meme. Somebody had posted some sort of a meme and they said and the meme had to do with the fact that adulthood is just like child or high school. How come it hasn't changed? And it's people are people. And
yeah.
I think again, I love the where we're going and obviously I'm a lot older than you, but for me when I was in high school, total nerd.
Mhm.
I was a choir drama geek
Mhm.
and I was made fun of the redhead and all that. So I had a lot of bullying issues. They didn't call it that back then.
Mhm.
And did you have those issues in high school, and did you have to deal with it?
I mean, I think
Mhm.
everyone experiences bullying it to some degree,
Mhm.
especially females. And what the show does and captures is um the idea that women sometimes can be underhanded in how we, and it's because we're sort of forced to, because society so much of the time, men can fight it out and it's
Mhm.
okay, and we have to have this like guard up, and we have to maintain this certain level of perfectionism
Or
and
decorum or something.
quorum, exactly.
Right. Mhm.
And so that's why, and the beauty of Behind Mean Girls is that this is based on psychology that Tina read in books because she was experiencing her kids growing up. And there's so much, there's so much about the musical that is actually based in truth and psychology that makes
Mhm.
it so interesting to me. And why women treat the way. treat each other the way that we do.
Mhm.
Um, but I will say, despite all of the things that I experienced in high school, um, and having to like try to find myself and not be influenced by other people and try to stay true to who I actually am, and just because everyone's doing it doesn't mean I should be. Um, I did not have to experience social media,
Mhm.
and that is what I think that the musical does so well now, is that social media adds a whole other layer
It
to
totally must. I can't even imagine.
trying to find yourself and trust who you are without being constantly exposed to what everyone else is doing,
Right.
and comparing yourself to others.
And being
It's
judged constantly.
being judged, right?
Right.
Giving a
Mhm.
like the concept of likes, it's a tangible way of saying I'm popular and I'm not. Um,
Exactly. Yeah, and yet it's not tangible if you think about it. It's just
no,
this space in the.
no,
Yeah.
exactly. But it it quantifies what maybe some insecurities, if you think that that is what validates you,
Mhm.
what makes you important.
Yeah.
And so many people, young people specifically, do think that social media is a determination of their value and their worth, which is so hard.
Yeah.
It's something I'm
Yeah.
really trying to fight against for a lot of young people, because it's a big reason why there is so many mental health issues for young
Mhm.
people
Mhm.
nowadays. So
And I think just having talking about it, like with you, talking about mental issues and what is this isn't real, that Facebook, it's none of it's all a bunch of crap. And I
yeah,
think eventually we'll get that message across that
yeah,
everybody's filtered.
hmm,
I'm so like just being here, um, and just being so proud to talk to somebody who has that attitude and you're in this surreal area where you're like, "Oh my god, I never thought I would be here."
mm.
How does it feel now what do your parents say? What do your friends say? They're like, "Oh my god, you're big.
I
You
mean,
made it big time."
it's really emotional, actually, like, because you have these goals, and to have this actualization of something is, it feels so, I feel very grateful, because I know I didn't get here alone. I got here obviously with a lot of my personal hard work, but also so many people that have helped me along the way. Um, and
Oh, you're tearing. Now you're gonna make
I
me
know,
cry.
this is what happens.
Oh,
I'm still experiencing this. It's so funny.
I love that.
I've been doing interviews, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy to just be here and present and be able to like do the thing I've always wanted."
Oh, I love
So
this.
sorry. I This has been
No, now you're making me emotional. I think it's wonderful. Well, no, was there a teacher like my son Leo, my youngest son Leo? He goes to Boston University. He's studying jazz. He wants to be a music educator. It's all because of the teachers, and he went to Parkway
yeah.
North. The
Yeah.
teachers. It was the teachers.
Yeah.
Um, amazing, teachers that taught him how to love music.
Yeah.
Do you have teachers like that? You went to Melville.
Yes. So I started fairly young, wanting to do musical theater. I definitely took advantage of PBS. I watched all the old movie musicals.
Smart.
Um, so pretty early on, I told my mom, like at 2.5, I think, I was like, I want to dance. And both of my parents were like, okay,
That's awesome.
out of left field, but sure, because both of my parents, my mom was theatrical in some ways, but my dad was very much sports, 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 and so they were so open to it, and obviously they helped me get where I am today. So gotta thank the
Well, I
parents.
was gonna
Without the
get to the
parents,
parents, but we'll go to the parents first,
I
because
would
I
like
get thank yous from my son.
to thank the teachers. That's all I gotta
That's
say.
right. That
um,
is true.
no, so yeah, they were so supportive, and I started early on. I started dancing at age 3.
Wow. So
At
you're a triple threat: sing, dance, act.
I mean, I think I always never like the word threat,
I know, I know. How
but
about a triple empowering?
oh, okay, I'm gonna use that
You
now.
could do it all.
But I really believe that I love doing all 3.
Mhm.
And so that, expresses itself in what I can do. But Yeah, so I started dancing at the age of 3 at Professional Dance Center.
Wow.
The teachers there, Yvonne Meyer, Jerry Stretz, the original owner, Gina Smith, all of my teachers there really early on just embraced my passion.
Mhm.
And it took a while for me to really, start actually being like excelling, because I wasn't naturally a really gifted dancer. I
I
guess
don't
it
think
was.
there are natural gifted anything. People have to work their butt off.
You'd be
I'm a
surprised.
believer of that.
That's true. But I mean, even like with singing, there are some children that have a natural ear
Mhm.
and can really be able to hear a melody once and recite it beautifully, or
Mhm.
sing along to a song in perfect unison with the vocalist. I was definitely not that child. And so but the heart and the passion has always been there.
Yeah.
And I think that is really what gets people to do this for a living,
Mhm.
is that passion seeing you all the way through,
Mhm.
because it's the hard work, obviously, that continues. And despite all of the rejection, despite all of the obstacles, that is what gets you through.
Mhm.
So I started dancing early on, and then I started taking voice around, I don't know, the age of 9, 10. And I continued with my vocal coach in St. Louis, which is Sheila Dugan.
Mhm.
Um, and
I know
and
that
then
name. By that name,
Yeah,
I've
and
heard it before.
here's the thing, like, that's the thing about St. Louis, is that there's so many amazing and talented teachers,
Mhm.
that so many amazing talented people come out of St.
So
Louis.
true. Mhm.
So I know I'm
Did you
now.
go to the Muni? You spent time at the Muni? Of
So yes.
course.
So and then eventually I was like, "Okay, I feel good about this. I feel like I can do this." And so I I started auditioning for the Muni as a kid pretty early on. But I was definitely, I didn't I again, it was hard work. I was tone
Mhm.
deaf. They were like, "Okay, she has the heart but maybe doesn't have the notes." So I continued, kept working for it. It was so hard as a kid because I was like so sad about not getting in the Muni every summer, and all my
Mhm.
friends were. And I remember crying to all my teachers, being like, "What am I doing wrong?" And they were like, "Caitlin, just keep working, keep doing what you love. You're gonna get it." And I'll never forget. I was in 7th grade, and I was in a production of Peter Pan at the Muni.
Mm.
And it was my first Muni show, and I felt elated. I had worked so hard for it. I had auditioned since I was so young, and I finally got in, and it felt like it was this amazing experience. And funny enough, the choreographer of that show, Liza Gennaro, she ended up being my mentor and professor of dance at my college at IU.
Wow. At
Um,
where did you go?
I went to Indiana University for
Great
musical
art
theater.
school. Yeah, great fine
Yeah,
arts. Yeah, yeah, all
mm,
kind yeah, that's a great school. Wow.
yeah, yeah. So
Wow.
it's really, it's like there's so many full circle moments.
Yes.
And so I did the Muni, ended up doing Muni Teens, and I had such an amazing experience at the Muni. It really is unlike any arts education that you're gonna get. You're working with Broadway choreographers, directors, music directors. So as a young person, that was like the best way to like step into the field.
Mhm.
Um, and also, being at my dance studio, we were actually partnering with the Fox all the time. My dance studio works with the Fox a lot, and
Mhm.
they use our students as talent, for a lot of fun, performances and
Like the
special events.
Nutcracker, like things where they need kids.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I know the Teen Talent Showcase is a pretty recent thing, but
Mhm.
I was in the first Teen Talent Showcase as a performer, not in as one of the acts that was going for the award that they give, but as part of the talent. And so that was so cool. So I had grown up with this relationship with the Fox for a while,
Mhm.
to the
And
point
to
where, like,
come back, wow.
yeah, yeah, it's
So wait, when did
amazing.
you so you finished college, right?
Yes.
I
So
didn't finish. So I'm
no, no,
and
no, no.
then did you go to the great, Broadway right away?
Yeah, so I graduated college in 2016.
Mhm.
And then I pretty much moved straight to New York. I actually had a job moving to New York, which is amazing. I
Wow.
was teaching dance with the National Dance Institute, which is a nonprofit organization that teaches dance in elementary schools in the New York public schools. So,
Smart. That's smart.
yeah,
I mean, that's awesome. You had a
yeah,
job.
it was an amazing way to get to know New York City through its
Sure.
patron. I
Yeah.
was in every parts of New York. I was in Chinatown. I was in the Bronx. I was in Brooklyn. I was everywhere.
Mhm.
It was a really fulfilling job to get to
Mhm.
teach dance to kids that had never experienced it before.
Wow.
It was so fun. And then I just kept auditioning, and I worked regionally throughout all of college, and then continuing after that, I worked every summer at the Muni. So again, that love of Muni continued with me as a professional as well. I think I've technically worked professionally in 7 Muni shows now at this
Wow.
point. So
How hard was it to get an agent for abroad? Was that more hard, or was it easier to get auditions or an agent?
Well, the thing is, it's easy to get auditions if you're in the union, the
Okay.
actors union, and
Uh-huh. The equity?
equity, exactly.
Actors equity. Mhm.
Yeah, actors equity. And I got my equity card through the Muni.
Mhm.
So thank you to the Muni.
That's awesome.
So you can pretty much get seen in so many auditions if you're equity. But it's the when you get into the audition room and who's in the audition room that sometimes is important to have an agent, because let's say you only audition, you get seen, but it's by an assistant
Mhm.
versus the actual choreographer.
Mhm.
Versus sometimes having an agent, you can skip some of those steps of seeing the assistant, and you
Mhm.
can go straight to seeing the actual choreographer of the piece,
Wow.
which is really important, especially when art is very subjective, right?
Absolutely it is. Yeah.
So it's like one of those things where it's like maybe the assistant might not like you, but the choreographer loves you, but you would
Right.
never know because you
You
weren't in
wouldn't
the.
know it because you couldn't get past that. So it's a lot like film and TV then.
Yes.
So okay, I was just curious because
Yeah.
I'm an LA girl,
Yes.
so I was the film and TV side. I didn't always want to go to Broadway, but never did. I just was already there.
Yeah. And it's funny because I'm sort of the opposite, especially during the pandemic. Everyone was like, "Well, why don't you make a transition to film and TV?" And there was just, just a totally different beast in its own way.
It's
Um,
totally different. I think what you're doing the right thing. I mean,
Thank you. I
seriously,
I really love theater. I think it's
theater
very
is the best.
it's
It's the
I
best.
love
It's
getting to
live.
go through the journey every night and
Mhm.
experience that cathartic moment from start to finish. And the live aspect is, there's nothing like it. That kinetic energy that exists between an audience and a performer.
That's
It's
why I love radio. I
yes,
always was gonna be just an actress. I never thought about doing anything on radio, and then I fell into voiceovers and fell into radio, and it's one of those it's improv, it's live, it's happening, boom, boom,
mm,
boom. So yeah, I mean, that's so I get that. You get that immediate, I don't know, the high, I guess?
yeah, it really is. It's
Yeah.
just it produces adrenaline, and you're
Wow.
just like, that's the excitement of it, right?
Yeah.
That's why an audience goes to a live performance or
That's why you worked your butt off all those years, and I have to go back because I gotta tell you, Caitlin, you almost had me in tears when you were talking about the fact that you're like, "I was tone deaf. I was not that," and you just kept working at it and
yeah,
working at it
yeah,
because I think so many people think of young people, and I think
mhm,
of you as young,
mhm,
as being lazy, and I think it's all bull
mhm.
crap. Trust me, when I was your age, they said the same thing about it. It's what old people say about young generations.
Right,
Not true. Not
nothing
true at all.
changes. Yeah,
Not true. Yeah, nothing changes. I see how hard my son works, and he used to say all the time, "There's this one girl, she has perfect pitch." It would drive him crazy because he would struggle. Now, it ended up. I love her, but she ended up. It was a curse to her having
mm,
perfect pitch because she could only hear one thing. She couldn't hear everything. So he's composing stuff now, but he had to work his butt off to get there.
yeah,
So I love that you said that, and I love that you kept doing it because it's
yeah,
what you love.
yeah, and I think, when you really have to work hard towards something, it makes you so much more appreciative and grateful when good things do come to you.
And it makes
Um,
you also be, I think, more humble.
yes, yes, yeah,
Stay the humble.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I think that if I give any piece of advice to a young performer, I always say that people want to work with good people that are humble and grateful, and spread that to everyone that they work with. Um,
They're kind.
yes, kindness is something that is often overlooked. I think that people have this idea that musical theater culture has these like diva mentalities, because there has been, that kind of, um, there were it was a thing, but
Mhm.
when musical theater was the music that everyone listened to, um, there was that diva, mentality, that was sort of appealing and exciting, but nowadays, one, musical theater is more of a niche thing that it's
Mhm.
not as popularized,
Mhm.
but also there's a lot of talented people that are really, really good. And it
I
is,
always looked at it as a family. Theater was a family to me. Whatever
yeah,
the show was, it was like your family, and you're so close. And then 6 months later, you
yeah,
have to say goodbye. That's the hard part.
that
But yeah, I mean, I
it
never
is
saw it as
family.
that, but that's only because when you're in it.
Yes, this is very much a thing of like being in it, and
Mhm.
how important kindness is nowadays. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that
Mhm.
um it's not saying that, like, people aren't kind,
In other
beforehand,
jobs.
but, so that they can get jobs, but just saying that, like, n there isn't time for that anymore.
Right,
There's so
totally.
much talent, and we like people like to work with people that are good people, and, that can create community and family that you're talking about, where it is, because, like, this is a great example of a show that if we had a lead that was sort of snooty, it could really affect our entire cast.
Sure.
And I am so lucky and blessed to have amazing performers that I get to work with every night, and I go on tour with, which is even more like a family. We're
Mhm.
living together.
Right.
We're traveling the country together, so it's even more important. And every single person, every principal, every member of our ensemble, both on stage and off stage, we treat each other as equals, and I think that is something that is unique and new to the industry and exciting about the industry, because there it really has changed the way that people are valued, and that's
Mhm.
really great to know as a member of the ensemble, because it we all are working so hard towards a
Hey.
common goal,
Yep.
right? And it
Absolutely.
makes it makes our show better.
I
Our
love
show
that.
is so great because when you watch the show on stage, you can see that every person has respect for the other person.
I love that. So again,
Yeah.
it's Mean Girls the musical. See our hometown girl, Caitlin Louise Smith. Now it's going to be here at the Fox. Do you know how long? I will have the dates
Yeah.
up, but
No, it's 2 weeks, February 15th through the 27th.
okay.
So,
And then where do you go from there? What's your next city?
yeah, that's a great question.
I love that. Don't know. Just going. I'll go with the show.
So excited about St. Louis. I'm like, "What's next?" I think after that, do we go to Omaha? I
Nice.
should know this. I know we're
We're
in
on in Omaha. We are on in Omaha. Great,
Yeah.
great people. You're gonna love it there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then but we're hopping around. We're going to Kansas City. We're staying in the Midwest though. We're gonna be in Kansas
Nice.
City. We're gonna be in Louisville. We're before St. Louis. We're going to Nashville. So it's it's really I'm so happy because I'm like in my area. I'm a midtown.
Right.
I'm a Midwestern girl.
You're
That's
home.
I'm home. And then I get to go to Indianapolis, which will be where a lot of my school friends will be. So
Oh,
I'm
that's so
excited
cool.
to. Yeah, I'm so excited to be doing the show and get to have all my friends and family see it. So
Well, Caitlin, I'm so excited for you, and I'm excited. I love that you share the passion you do because anybody who's watching this, no matter what age, by the way, um, do follow your dream.
mm,
Follow your
yeah,
dream, and you don't look at all like Danny DeVito. You're
let's
gorgeous,
let's make
and
I'm
by the
gorgeous.
way, you're gonna be playing characters, like that's the thing is
Mm.
um character actresses and actors way more fun leads. Way more fun.
Well, you never know where my career will go, but
You
I
ever
love
want to write or produce or direct?
I definitely wanna direct, and I love choreography as well. I'm a dancer to my core, really, but,
Dancer first, really, because you started youngest
yeah,
or when
I
you were
did,
young.
and, the funny thing is that I always say, like, I'm an actor first because what I really found that I loved about, uh, dancing was telling stories, and
Mm.
so talking about storytelling, that is why I love directing too. I love the concept of telling a story that no one has heard before.
Well, I hope that I write, so maybe someday you'll direct something I write.
That
I
would
would
be
love that.
amazing. I would definitely use you because I that is one gift that I have not been given. At least I haven't really cultivated it at all, but
Oh, you're very good at telling your story, so I have a feeling you would have no problem
okay.
doing it.
I'll
So,
trust you on that, Judy.
okay. Well, tell your mom and dad they did very well.
Oh, thank
And are
you.
they gonna come to opening night or
Oh, yeah,
okay.
my mom and my
Probably
fan
every night.
my fan club. I feel so lucky. It's so many people have reached out that they're coming, and it's such a gratifying experience getting to see your friends and family get to see what you do. So I'm really grateful, and
Well,
I'll
we're
have my
proud of you for representing.
yes. I mean, listen, there's no other way to do it. I mean, the Fox is notorious for having hometown talent come and come back, and it is such a cool thing to experience. So
Well,
I'm glad that
thank
it'll
you.
be my first.